Face primer. Does anybody actually really need face primer? Hello, my friends. Today we're going to be talking about face primer, and I am telling you, when I asked people on Twitter what their favorite face primers were, do you know what the most common answer was? That they don't use face primer because it doesn't do anything for them. And I think part of the reason why face primer doesn't do anything for some people is I think some people are using the wrong face primer, and maybe legitimately some people just don't need a face primer. So we're gonna go into depth about face primers, why they may be great for you and why you may not need them, and how to figure out which one is right for you. So if that sounds interesting to you, hang tight. We're getting into it right now. There's two major reasons why people want to use a face primer. The first one is that we all want an ideal canvas for when we start wearing our makeup. When we look in the mirror, we see different things. Some of us see redness, some of us see large pores, some of us see acne, some of us see fine lines and wrinkles, some of us see a dullness, lots of things we see. And what we want to do with a primer is to get our canvas ready for makeup so that we can have our makeup do the best job possible. But the problem is, because all of our faces are different, no primer is going to be universal for everybody. It's just not possible. And this is why some face primers may work for you, but then you'll see reviews or you'll see a YouTuber say that it doesn't work for them. So the first question you need to ask yourself in the beginning of this video, if you want to find the best primer for you, or even if primers are right for you, is what would make your canvas ideal? The second big reason is that people want their makeup to last longer. And part of making that ideal canvas and helping our makeup to last longer is making sure our skin is in the best possible condition before we apply our makeup. And just changing a couple of things that you do before you apply your makeup may make your makeup last longer, and you may not need a primer. Hello, Editing Jen here. I realized I forgot to do my disclaimers. So if you have never met me before, hi, my name is Jen, and I am not an esthetician. I am not a dermatologist. I am not a medical professional. I am an ingredient geek. I'm someone that likes to research and learn about ingredients so that I can give the best information to you. All the information I'm going to provide to you are from reputable blogs and research articles, and I will be linking a bunch of that down below for you. Just like you may have an interest that you love, that you've researched like crazy, and that you know a lot about, whether it's sports or cars or collecting pop sockets, I don't know. We all have a thing that we are interested in. This is my thing. But if you want a true opinion of what you should do for your skin, you definitely want to go and seek out a medical professional that can look at your individual skin to give you the best recommendations. These are just general recommendations based on ingredient research. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump back into the video. So the first thing is consider cleansing your face before you put on your makeup. Some people may just need a splash of water. Some people may need a gentle cleanser. Some people may benefit from using a BHA toner or a cleanser that's usually salicylic acid. And what that does is it's kind of a magnet for all the dirt and oil and gunk that are in our pores, and it kind of sucks it all out so that you can have a more ideal canvas for when your makeup goes on. One thing that's really important that I don't think is talked about enough is over cleansing your face. If you over cleanse your face, especially if you have oily skin, your skin is going to think it is lacking oil, and it's going to produce more throughout the day. So if you're using all kinds of Clarisonic, scrubby, harsh cleansers on your face, your skin may be confused, and you may be doing something that's counterproductive for what you're looking to do. The other thing is dry skin. Of course, if you have dry skin, you don't want to over cleanse as well, because you're sucking that natural moisture out of your skin, and that is no bueno for dry or dehydrated skin. And after you cleanse, of course, follow with your regular skincare routine, including sunscreen, and then make sure before you put on any other makeup, you let your sunscreen seep into your skin for at least 5 minutes to make sure that you've got all of the sunscreen goodness happening before you put the makeup on over top. I do have videos on sunscreens and oily skin and anti-aging skincare and all kinds of videos. I will link all of those down below if you want to know more about what kinds of skincare routines may be good for you with a certain skin type. So with that being said, let's talk about the different types of primers that are available. We're not gonna go super into illuminating primers because usually an illuminating primer just adds a little bit of mica, which is a sparkly mineral or some other kind of illuminating base to your makeup. And honestly, if you're not wearing it alone, it's probably gonna get covered up for the most part by your foundation unless your foundation is very light coverage. So we're gonna skip specific illuminating primers. And the most popular primers that people were talking about on Twitter when I asked this were hydrating primers and pore filling primers. So those are the ones we're going to focus on. So let's start with hydrating. So the first primer that we're going to be talking about is the Too Faced Hangover Replenishing Face Primer. It is $34. It's 1.35 ounces, which is about $25 per ounce. It said that 100% of people said that makeup went on smoother, that they looked more radiant, that their skin looked more hydrated, and this was the most interesting one to me. They said that their skin had the appearance of a full night's rest. If you can tell me what skin looks like when it's had a full night's rest, I would love to know, because I don't, does skin look rested? Like eyes can look rested, body language can be rested, but I don't know about that one. So let's talk about what's in this. So the number one ingredient is water. And then the next one is something called lactobacillus. Possibly. It's a probiotic. And this is the thing about probiotics in skincare. There really isn't a lot of scientific research that is backed up by a non-biased source. So people that create these products, sometimes they'll do research that proves that their product works, but there isn't a whole lot of research by scientists that aren't getting a monetary gain from the sale of these probiotics in skincare. The current research that is done by these programs say that probiotics may increase good bacteria on the skin, and in that could strengthen the skin's barrier. It could promote the skin's ability to stay hydrated, but the problem with them is that they can be unstable depending on how they're formulated within the product. And when you're talking about a probiotic, you're talking about a kind of bacteria, a good bacteria on your skin. But a lot of products, in order to increase shelf life, have preservatives that kill bacteria. So it's possible that some of the probiotic is killed by the antibacterials that increase shelf life, because your product has to have a certain shelf life in order to be sold. So yeah. They may or may not be working in there. The next one is something called propanediol dicaprolate. It's a moisturizer and a penetration enhancer. And one thing that I want to mention about penetration enhancers, because there's a lot of them in here, is that sometimes these penetration enhancers will be the cause of skin issues that people have. So some people may use a silicone-based primer and think that the silicone is causing the acne or whatever issues that you're having, but really it's the penetration enhancer in there that's taking something from your primer, from your foundation, from your blush, from whatever you have on your face, and it's making it seep deeper into your skin, that it may not be what you think it is. It may be a different product paired with a penetration enhancer. Penetration enhancers can be great for getting good products into our skin, but unfortunately, sometimes it can also help products that don't agree with our skin penetrate deeper. And especially if you have broken skin. A lot of products do not recommend that you put them on broken skin. So keep an eye on that. And if you do know you have a space where you do have broken skin, just don't apply product to the broken skin. The fourth ingredient is something called propanediol, which may soften skin, and it also might help pull moisture into the skin and prevent water loss. And the last one I wanted to mention especially was number 8, which is aluminum starch octane, I don't know, something, I'm gonna put it right there. It's an absorbent and anti-caking ingredient. So this might help absorb oil on your skin, and it also might help your foundation application. So this would be where you might see some good results as a primer from this particular ingredient. As far as the first 4 ingredients, you could probably just get those from Good Skincare. Honestly, this is a primer that you might get some good results from, but having Good Skincare probably will do just the same thing. Next up, a lot of people got these in their Beautylish Lucky Bags. This is the Good Molecule silicone-free priming moisturizer. It's $14, 1.7 ounces, which makes it only $8 per ounce, which is very inexpensive compared to some of the other things we're gonna be talking about. So the claims are that it smooths, hydrates, preps your skin for makeup. It's a lightweight daily moisturizer formulated with a natural silicone alternative. And the natural silicone alternative I've noticed with Good Molecules is there's a lot of backing up of claims that are not based in science. So they know that a lot of people are scared of silicones. They think that silicones are going to clog their pores. And we're going to get into that in a minute and what this real science is. They're basically saying it's a natural silicone alternative, meaning silicone is bad. Things that aren't natural are bad. Therefore, we're going to give you this alternative. Now, I couldn't figure out exactly what ingredient they were talking about. It's probably in there. I just couldn't figure out what it was. But don't buy into the natural silicone alternative. It's going to be better than regular silicone. So we have the water is the number 1 ingredient, the propanediol, which is that moisturizer. Number 4 ingredient is shea butter, which is a fantastic ingredient, especially for dry skin. So this may be a great product for dry skin. It's an antioxidant, it's skin replenishing, it's fabulous. Number 8 is macadamia seed oil, another wonderful ingredient for dry skin. It's an anti-inflammatory, but again, that's just good skincare when it comes down to it. And if you're not buying into the silicone alternative situation, just pair a moisturizer, a good moisturizer with any silicone primer, and you're probably gonna get a very similar situation. All right, this one is a super, super, super popular one. This is the Milk Hydro Grip. It's $30. 1.52 ounces, that's $20 per ounce, which is a little less than some of the other ones, but it's still definitely not the least expensive per ounce here. So the claims are that it's a hydrating makeup gripping primer formulated with hemp-derived cannabis seed extract, which is way down on the ingredient list, by the way, and blue agave extract, also way down on the ingredient list, for all-day hydration and hold. I'll tell you what's giving you the effects. Number 1 ingredient is the aloe leaf water. Skin soothing, but it's not as good as the aloe leaf juice, but still a good product for skin soothing. Most of your hydration you're gonna get from ingredient number 2, which is water, and number 3, which is glycerin, which is the humectant that's gonna pull that water into your skin and hold it there. That's where the all-day hydration is, but they're not gonna say that. They're not gonna say it's just glycerin, because a lot of products have glycerin. It doesn't sound as fancy. It doesn't make you wanna buy it. So remember I talked about penetration enhancers. Whenever you see PEG and then a number, that is a penetration enhancer. So next up we have PEG 150 distearate. It's a thickening agent in the product. It also helps other ingredients absorb into the skin. So don't ever put anything with PEGs in it on broken skin, because again, it's gonna help anything you put on your face to absorb right down, because it is broken skin. A lot of times your skin barrier, especially with a 150, this product probably won't be able to get through your unbroken skin, because the bigger the number, the bigger the molecule. And that means it's not gonna be able to get down too deep unless you have broken skin. Number 5 ingredient is denatured alcohol. And if you've been with the channel for a while, you know how much I hate denatured alcohol, because it actually damages the skin's barrier over time. That's ingredient number 5. It's not good. I mean, it's worse if it was higher up, but number 5 is not a good placement for that. I would rather see that at like number 15, and then I wouldn't be as concerned about it. Then we've got a stabilizer after that, and then something called diglycerin, which is just like glycerin. It's a humectant. It's gonna pull that moisture into your skin, but it's got a larger molecular structure. So it penetrates slower into your skin, but it's gonna hold even more water than the glycerin, which is fantastic. Now, this is the gripping part, is an ingredient called PVP. It's a film former. That is what is going to make the foundation from the primer last longer on your skin, is this PVP. But the problem with PEP is that it loves water. So if you are sweating, if you're in a humid environment, if you have a bad day or a really good day and you've got tears coming down your face, it could break down because of the moisture, or if you get caught in the rain, whatever, it could break down because of the moisture. And the only other ingredient I really wanted to mention here is xylitol. And if you have dogs especially, I don't know about other animals, but dogs can be poisoned by xylitol. So if you use this primer, even though it's number 16 on the ingredient list, just don't let your pets lick your face. Don't let them get a hold of your primer. Make sure that it is far away, because it can kill dogs. That's a horrible way to end this, but it's the truth, and I want to make sure that all of our pets are safe. So there's a reason why this primer has been successful for so many people. It's because it's got that PVP in it, and it also has a lot of really good humectants pulling moisture into your skin, and it's gonna do exactly what it says it's gonna do, just probably not from the advertised ingredients. Now, this is very interesting. The Cover FX Gripping Primer, it is $38 and it's 1 ounce. So you're getting less product than the Milk, and it's more expensive than the Milk, and it actually has less bells and whistles than the Milk makeup one. So if you're using the Cover FX Gripping Primer, primer, you may want to consider trying the Milk one. Number one ingredient is water, and then we have something called polysorbate 80, which helps oil and water just stay mixed within the product, but that's the second ingredient in here. Then we have a humectant, and then that PEG 50 that we talked about a little while ago. And then we have the glycerin and dimethicone. We're gonna get more into silicones in a little bit, but it is a good ingredient to see in a primer. It is helpful to the primer to do what you want it to do as far as increasing longevity of your makeup. And that's pretty much all that's interesting in this product. So honestly, if you're looking for a gripping primer, a long-lasting primer, based on the ingredients alone, I would say the Milk over this one. Now, when I tried the Milk, I didn't like it because I felt the texture was too sticky for me. I didn't like it, but there are a lot of people that don't mind the stickiness that really, really like it. Now, this is the only spray we're gonna be talking about. This is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer. It is $42 for an ounce, so it's quite expensive. So let's see what the claims are and whether it lives up to the claims. So the claims are that it's a face primer and moisturizer in one that delivers 24-hour hydration and powerful primer benefits in the lightest possible texture. So, number one ingredient, water. Number two, glycerin, which is that humectant. Number three is dimethicone. So that's gonna give you that silicone slip. It's gonna mix with your foundation, make your foundation last longer. Because it's in a spray form, it's probably not going to fill your pores the way that like a cream dimethicone would. The fourth ingredient is something called isopropyl isosterate, and it sounds like it's isopropyl alcohol, but don't freak out, it's not. It's totally different. It is a skin softening and an emollient product, and it's not the same as isopropyl alcohol, so don't worry about that if you see that on there. Then we have another skin conditioning ingredient, and then we have niacinamide, which is a fantastic skincare ingredient. I was so happy to see it in here. Niacinamide helps to improve enlarged pores. It helps uneven skin tone. It helps fine lines and wrinkles, dullness, and a weakened skin surface. And it reduces the impact of environmental damage by strengthening your skin's barrier. Your niacinamide is fantastic. Now, you can get a Good Molecules niacinamide toner probably for a lot cheaper than this, but it does have niacinamide, which is a really good ingredient. Moving on to urea, which is one of the ingredients that I talked about in my dry skin video. Fantastic ingredient for dry skin. It's very hydrating. It not only holds onto water in the skin, but it also increases your skin's capacity to hold onto water in the future. So if you have dehydrated skin, anything with urea, fantastic ingredient, and it is number 7 on the ingredient list, which is pretty high up. Then we have a skin conditioning ingredient and another humectant, and then we have algae extract. We don't know which one of the thousands of algae this is, but it is a thickening, water binding antioxidant ingredient typically. So this is a fantastic product, and I can see why people love it so much, but is it worth that high price? You have to decide that for yourself. You might be able to find some skincare that's at a lower price point that has all of those bells and whistles. I don't know though. It's a really good product. If I were gonna design a primer spray, I think I would design it something like this. It's just the price point's a little crazy, so that would be the only thing I would try to lower a little bit if I were Smashbox, but that looks like some good stuff. All right, the last hydrating primer we're gonna talk about is one that was highly requested. It's the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, $60. But you get 1.7 ounces of it, and it's $35 per ounce is what it comes down to. Still pretty pricey. Claims are that it's a primer with moisturizing benefits for smooth makeup application, and they say that it's the best of both worlds, and that's what the ingredients pretty much break down to. So number one ingredient is water, second is cyclopentasiloxane, which is a silicone. The next ingredient is a lanolin substitute. I personally love lanolin in my lip balms and my skincare because I feel like it does good things for me, but lanolin is really heavy for a face product. It's really good for lips, but real heavy for the face, so I'm glad they used the substitute. It's very water binding, and it also helps seal in moisture into the skin, so it's good stuff. This is an ingredient that could help your makeup last longer, but it can also be a mild skin irritant, so if you have sensitive skin, definitely patch test this one before you put it all over your face. The 8th ingredient is shea butter. We talked about that before. Great for dry skin, antioxidant, skin replenishing. And then we have squalane. And people ask me all the time what the difference is between squalene and squalane. Squalane is the more stable version of squalene. So it's a kind of a processed version so that it can be more stable within the product. People freak out because they think that it comes from shark liver. Most of the time, it doesn't come from shark liver anymore. Most of the time, you have to check with the manufacturer just to make sure. Most of the time, it comes from olives or some other plant base. But what's cool about it is it mimics your skin skin's sebum, so it helps your skin to balance its sebum production or its oil production. It's an antibacterial, it's a moisturizer, and it's an antioxidant, and it also might fight free radical damage, which is awesome. The fifth ingredient is something called sorbitan stearate, which is a highly concentrated form of niacinamide. And we talked about niacinamide before and how awesome that is for the skin. This is a great ingredient for people with large pores and sun damage. Then we have something called fireweed or willow herb extract. It's skin soothing and an antioxidant. Yeast extract, which is also an antioxidant. Beta carotene, another antioxidant. Sodium hyaluronate, which is a humectant, fantastic humectant. And then we get into some not so good things. We get into grapefruit peel oil, which is a fragrance. So if you don't like fragrances on your skin, this is one of them. Number 11 is vitamin E. And then we get into more fragrances in the geranium flower oil, limonene, citronellol, geraniol, and linalool. So if you are anti-fragrance, you definitely want to stay away from this. Lots of fragrance in this. But overall, it looks like a great product. And because that cyclopentasiloxane is so high up, when they say that it benefit is for smooth makeup application and the best of both worlds with the moisturizer and everything, that seems like that would be the case with this. It doesn't seem like it's just marketing. It seems like the ingredients back up the claims. Okay, are you ready to move on to mattifying and pore minimizing products? But before we get into that, let's just do a little bit of fun facts about pores and pore minimizing primers so that we know what we're dealing with here. Hello, Editing Jen back again. So before I get into my feelings about silicone based on my personal research, I do want to let you know, as I was researching, I found, of course, a lot of medical professionals that agree with what I'm about to say, but there are some that don't agree. So I will be linking some videos for you down below of some different opinions. So you just really have to do what's best for you and your skin. But I do want to make sure I mention that there are some conflicting opinions in the medical field about silicone, and the conflicting opinions will be in the video description. All right, back to the video. First of all, your pores are largely determined by genetics. Unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. They can also get bigger due to environmental factors, aging, dry skin, your oil production. They can all make your pores look larger. And like we talked about earlier, if you're over cleansing, that can create more oil production and actually make your pores more enlarged over time. A recommendation for people with large pores is to do a gentle exfoliation. It could be from a BHA like we talked about earlier, or an AHA, which is the chemical exfoliators that I tend to use on my face. But I do believe that BHAs are more recommended for larger pores than AHAs. As far as primers go, you don't need to put a mattifying or pore filling primer all over your face. It's not necessary unless you are also going for trying to make your makeup last longer. Most of these pore filling primers are going to have silicones in them. Actually, I think they all do. And silicones, again, are not a bad thing. There's no scientific evidence that silicones make your pores larger or trap dirt in your skin that make your pores larger. People were asking me about that on Twitter, and I saw some videos about it, and I checked with my person that I check with about these things. It's a professional in the skincare field, and she laughed. She was like, no, silicones will not make your pores larger. Trapping dirt in your skin will not make your pores larger. It's not like that. I mean, are you putting a rock in your pore and like It just doesn't work like that. What makes your pores larger is that your collagen over time doesn't produce as much. And that's why as you get older, your pores get larger, because your skin isn't as taut and they just kind of naturally open up just a little bit more. It's not having to do with your primer. It's not having to do with dirt on your skin. That's just not real. There's no scientific evidence that silicones clog pores, period. End of story. Another thing is people think that silicones suffocate the skin. That's not true either. The silicone molecules are quite large, so your skincare that's trying to get down into your skin can still go and wiggle their way through those molecules and get down into your skin. It's fine. It's not suffocating your skin. It's not real. So now that we've debunked some of the myths about silicones, let's talk about some of these pore-filling silicone-based primers. Let's start off with one of the most popular ones, which is the Smashbox Photo Finish Smooth and Blur Primer, $36 for an ounce. The claims are that it makes makeup last for hours and hours, and that it fills in fine lines and pores instantly. It glides on to give a flawless finish, protects the skin from environmental pollutants, damage, and stress with antioxidants, vitamins A and E. It's lightweight, oil-free, and ideal for all skin types. On the top end of this, we are loaded up with silicone, cyclopentasiloxane. Hey, so do yourself a favor. Pause right now. Go get yourself a glass of water. and take a big drink every time I say cyclopentasiloxane because it's coming up a lot. It's in like all of these primers. I just wanted to mention that because I think it's kind of funny. All right, back to the video. Dimethicone cross-polymer, something called trisiloxane, but that also might absorb some UV light, which would be a good thing. And I think that's what they're talking about. Environmental pollutants, damage, and stress. That might be part of that as well. Then we have retinol palmitate, which is a vitamin A, tocopherol acetate, which is a vitamin E. Just a little bit about vitamin A. There's some scare out there that retinol palmitate, it can increase your susceptibility to sun damage, and there actually isn't scientific evidence of that. And I will put a link to skincancer.org and their statement on retinol palmitate that they do not feel that it increases your likelihood of getting skin cancer, retinol palmitate. And then safflower seed extract, which is a wonderful hydrator for the skin. So based on the claims for this, it seems like this should pretty much work. If you want it to fill pores, you definitely want to tap it into the skin. Fine lines, tap it in, but then make sure when you're putting on your foundation that you're not then brushing it out of your pores. So you just kind of have to, think about your application and making sure that you're doing what you need to do in order to make it stay in your pores. And don't worry, it's not clogging your pores, it's just hanging out in there. Next up, the Benefit Professional, $32 for 0.75 ounces. This is $43 per ounce. So expensive, oh my gosh. Claims are that it quickly minimizes the appearance of pores and fine lines for smoother than smooth skin. Again, loaded up with silicones at the top. Number 4 is a texture ingredient. Then we have silica, which can absorb oil. The next ingredient is one we're gonna see a couple of times. And this is an ingredient called either isododecane or isododecane. Okay, I'm not sure where the accent goes on that one. But it's really good at increasing the lasting time of liquid lipsticks, foundations, and other makeup. So whenever we see this in an ingredient list, know that this would probably help your makeup last longer. And the reason why is it's highly effective in preventing the evaporation of water from the skin. And it also helps with the spreadability of the product. So there you go. There is some fragrance in here and some limonene. So if you're anti-fragrance, this isn't going to be a good one for you, but it does look like it's a pretty legit primer for both pore filling and making your makeup last longer. Next up, the Bare Minerals Prime Time, $26 for 1 ounce. Claims to combat rough patches, flaky skin, fine lines, excess oil. So rough patches and excess oil, uneven texture, enlarged pores so your foundation goes on flawlessly. They say that it'll extend the wear of your foundation. It'll soothe and nourish with plant extracts, and vitamin C and E. It says it doesn't have any preservatives and irritants. Makes me a little nervous there's no preservatives in here, so just, keep an eye on the shelf life of it. And then it's a silky formula. So let's go into the ingredients. Again, very top heavy on the silicones. Number 4, silica, that's your oil absorber. Then more silicone, and then we get to our vitamin C. Now, vitamin C is a fantastic ingredient in your skincare. The problem with vitamin C is it doesn't really live a long time. It doesn't really work very well for a long time, especially when exposed to light and air. So make sure you're very careful with any products containing vitamin C. I've heard some people do very well with putting vitamin C in a refrigerator so that it lasts longer. So that might be something you want to consider if you buy this primer. But it does defend against pollutants and environmental stressors. So it is a really good ingredient to see in skincare and in a primer. Then we get to our vitamin E, which is an antioxidant. And vitamin C and E are like best buds. They work really, really well together. Together, when you use them, they can brighten and improve uneven skin tone. That's what they're talking about as far as the marketing of it. Then we have vitamin B5, which is a humectant pulling that moisture into your skin. Aloe leaf extract, which is better than the juice we talked about earlier. Very skin soothing, really, really nice. Chamomile flower extract, which is an antioxidant, also skin soothing. And then licorice root extract, which is also skin soothing, and it may help even the skin tone, and that's it. That's the whole ingredient list. Just lots of really good stuff in here. So honestly, like if you're looking for good skincare along with something that helps combat oil, even your skin tone, things like that, then this may be a great primer for you. We're getting there. Another highly requested one, the Hourglass Mineral Veil. I do have this one here and I want to talk to you about it in person, live in person. Let's see what the claims are. That it's an oil-free primer with a silky, airy texture that leaves a smooth canvas for makeup while reducing the look of redness, pores, and wrinkles. Okay, so let's see what's really in this. We've got the cyclopentasiloxane, the silicone first, and then we have that isododecane, or the isododecane, which is gonna help your foundation to last longer. We have another silicone, and then we have zinc oxide. And this is something, especially if you are of a deeper skin tone and you've had trouble with a white cast in sunscreens before, this may not work for you. Let me show you what it does. When you put it on, it's white, and then it continues to be white. That's the zinc oxide. So if you have a deeper skin tone, you may want to pass on this one, unless you really, I mean, the more I rub it, the more it goes into the skin and it does kind of go away, but then you're not going to be able to get that pore filling effect. So just kind of keep that in mind if you are of a deeper skin tone, or if you really wanted that pore filling effect, you're going to have to rub it considerably in order to get that white cast to go away. You may be able to apply your makeup over top of it and not be able to see the white cast, but you're just going to have to play with it. And at the price point, I feel like you shouldn't have to play with it. I don't know why they put the zinc oxide in there, unless they're talking about reducing the look of redness by canceling it out with white. I don't know. I think it's a weird choice. More silicone, titanium dioxide, which also might be part of the pigment in here, and then a PEG 10 dimethicone, which don't put this on broken skin. But there's really hardly any bells and whistles to this. Like, this is a pretty basic silicone and the isododecane product. Like, it works, it's probably gonna work, but I think the price point on this is absolutely insane for what you get compared to some of these other options where you're getting lots of good skincare in there. You're just not getting that with this. Another really, really pricey one. We're gonna go back down in price point in a minute. The Tatcha Silk Canvas, $52. I do have that one as well. I bought it on sale at Sephora and I've regretted it ever since I bought it, just because I don't think it's worth the price point. It's a good primer, it's just not worth the price point. This is what it looks like. So you get 0.7 ounces, it's $74 per ounce. Because it's a solid and they give you like this little coin thing to help you measure out the perfect amounts, you may not go through it as fast as you might go through something like this, but still, it's really expensive. So let's see what the claims are. It's a velvety priming balm of pressed silk that smooths and makes makeup last longer while keeping it out of skin. So it's gonna smooth your skin, but it's gonna be out of your skin, meaning it's not gonna go in your pores. Helping to prevent clogged pores and breakouts. See, it's playing on the claims, the thoughts that a lot of primers cause breakouts, which they may, but it's not, most likely not from silicone. Silicones are not comedogenic. Talk to your dermatologist about what may be causing your acne if you think it's a particular product. Chances are it's not the silicones. Anyway, I feel like that's playing off of fears, the helping prevent clogged pores thing. But let's look at the ingredients. Let's make sure. So cyclopentasiloxane, silicone, first ingredient. Then we have water, we have glycerin, fabulous bringing moisture into the skin. And then they have their little Tatcha magical proprietary blend. So it's Hadase 3. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's their word. I don't know how to pronounce it. So there's 3 things in this magical mix. They have the Saccharomyces. It's the scientific name for a yeast used in fermentation. So there really isn't a lot of independent research on it. Most of it is done by people trying to sell it. The studies that were done showed that it helped prevent transepidermal water loss. So that would be a good thing if it were real. But we do have to take those results with a grain of salt because they're not done by independent people. Then there's green tea. That is a fantastic ingredient. Green tea is wonderful. It's a fantastic antioxidant. It's a great anti-inflammatory, so that's a really good one. And then there's this Japanese seaweed in here. They say that it's a moisturizing ingredient, and the developers say that it encourages collagen and hyaluronic acid production within the skin. Again, this is from the developers. It may be real. It may be biased because they're trying to sell something. We just don't know until we get some independent studies on that particular seaweed. Oh, there's 4 things, sorry. The last one is rice ferment filtrate, which is actually something that is in a lot of really good skincare. It hydrates, it's an antioxidant. It also may encourage collagen production and even the skin tone. So that's a really good ingredient. There's some potential of skincare in here. And then there's that cyclopentasiloxane at the top to help fill the pores. So keeping it out of the skin, I don't know what they're thinking with that. Then there's that propanediol, which is a humectant and helps with the absorption, and then dimethicone, which would help you to fill your pores. So could this be a good skincare ingredient? Yes. Could it fill your pores and help your pores be less noticeable? Yes, the price point's insane. And speaking of that, let's talk about a comparable product. The e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I don't have that one, but a lot of people compare the e.l.f. one to this. So let's see if it actually is comparable ingredients. It's $8, 0.74 ounces. So we're talking $11 per ounce. That's a huge difference. And I'm sitting here as I'm looking up, I'm like, please let it be the same. Please let it be the same. So let's look at the claims. It creates a smooth skin and preps it with squalane to moisturize and grip makeup for all day wear. Velvety texture glides on over the skin, smoothing over imperfections for a poreless effect. Just so you know, the squalane is the 14th ingredient, so chances of you getting squalane benefits are much less than some of the other products that we've talked about, so I wouldn't take the squalane claim seriously. Let's look at the actual ingredients that seem to be doing things. So number 1 is water, 2, cyclopentasiloxane again, so we've got similar base. Sericin, which is in this, but way lower down. It's a waxy ingredient that's used as a thickener in cosmetics. That's the 3rd ingredient. Then we get into dimethicone, so that's more silicone. The glycerin, which is the humectant, going to pull the moisture into your skin. Then there's a mineral oil substitute after that, and then more silicones. So really, this is going to be a nice pore filling primer. Definitely not as many skincare bells and whistles as in this, but you could get skincare bells and whistles from like a moisturizer if you want to. You don't necessarily need this to do all of those things. You can get the e.l.f. one for your pore filling and then use your moisturizer for your skincare. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the price on this is just insane. I don't see very much in this as far as gripping makeup all day, except for the silicones themselves, the dimethicone, which if you have a silicone-based foundation, then they're gonna mix pretty well together and may enhance the longevity of your products. But other than that, I don't really see, at least from my knowledge, anything that's gonna really help your makeup last longer, but it does look like a nice pore filling primer. Another one mentioned quite a lot, which has an insane price point when you break it down. This is the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer, $39 for half an ounce. So that's $78 per ounce. Oh my gosh. So let's talk about the claims. The claims are that it features an innovative blurring and filling technology. Wait till you hear what's so innovative. It gives a more youthful appearance while prepping skin for makeup. You know what this innovative stuff is? It's cyclopentasiloxane and dimethicone. It's all silicone. And then it's some hydrogenated vegetable oil, because that's so revolutionary. Just makes me laugh. Okay, the vegetable oil is actually mostly for texture. There's not much info on great skin benefits. It's mostly just for the texture of the product, at least from what I've seen. There is something that might help your makeup last longer. I'll put the name of it here. I'm gonna try to hit it. Oh no. I'm not even gonna hit it. I'm not even gonna try. All right, tetraisosterate is the second one. I just can't get the first part. That might help make your makeup last longer. There is some evidence for that. Then more silicones, and then we have mica, which is gonna give it some color, and some PEGs. There's fragrance in here. If you don't like fragrance, there's a lot of it. Limonene, linalool, citral, hexylcinnamol, carmine. If you don't like carmine in your products, is in here. This is not a great, it probably works fine. It probably will work, but you're getting ripped off with the price point on this for what you get. It might work, but for what you get, you're not getting your money's worth, because the skincare in here is not, there's no skincare in here. So if I'm gonna pay $78 an ounce, I want there to be some skincare included, and there just isn't any in this, at least that I can see. But again, it may work. It may do well. It may make your makeup last longer. It may fill your pores, but it's not gonna give you your money's worth. It's too expensive. Okay, we've got two left. Here we go. The Revlon Photo Ready Pore Reducing Primer, $12, 0.91 ounces, which is about $13 an ounce. This is not to be confused with their new product, ready for this, Photo Ready Prime Plus Mattifying Plus Pore Reducing Makeup Plus Skincare Primer. We didn't go over that one. This is the one that the community said that they like and use. So the claims are that it minimizes the appearance of pores and gives a matte look, evens out skin texture, high definition filler technology, captures and transforms any light to mimic photo filters for a perfected selfie-ready look. I mean, can you just feel the marketing dripping off of this? Let's see what it's made of. Dimethicone, isododecane. So I keep switching up how I say that word, but it's a silicone-based primer, so it's gonna fill your pores. Probably pretty nice. Also gonna help your makeup last longer. Pretty great. Third ingredient is water, then more silicone, some PEGs in there, so no broken skin. We've got a number, and then isoparaffin, that's a texture ingredient, and then another one that's like an emollient skin conditioning product. So minimize appearance of pores, probably. Give a matte look, probably. Even out skin texture, probably. High definition filter technology, no, we're not, no. That's a little much. Selfie ready look? Like it looks like a photo filter? No. But it probably works to make your makeup last longer and fill your pores. And then the final one, the Touch in Soul No Pore Bloom Primer, $18 an ounce. It claims to cover and take care of skin, pores, and wrinkles all at once, because they're essentially the same kind of issue where you want to pat the primer in so that it blurs. Okay. All right, moving on. This is a K-beauty product, so there are a couple of things that get lost in translation, I think, a bit with this, but we'll go with it, with the claims. So, perfect seamless coverage for hiding pores and uneven skin. Velvet skin without skin sebum. So I think it's trying to say it helps you control your oil. So it says skin sebum catch powder is able to control skin pores so that you can start your makeup with velvet skin. It also makes your skin feel fresh and smooth for a long time. Then it says it's a microfiber primer, which I'm not sure about that, because when I think microfibers, I think about like a microfiber cloth, like a makeup eraser. I don't know if that's exactly what they meant, but they say it creates an invisible layer that acts as a barrier to outside elements. I couldn't find that ingredient. It may just be me missing something, but I couldn't find that ingredient. But let's see what I did find. Number one ingredient, cyclopentasiloxane. Second ingredient is water, and then dimethicone, more silicones, PEG-10 dimethicone, so keep that in mind, more dimethicone. And then number 8, we get to silica, which is the oil absorbing part, and then there is some fragrance. So, could it hide pores, help with uneven skin? Absolutely. Could it help with oil absorbing because of the silica? Probably. I don't know about the microfiber thing. I missed that. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but I mean, it's got some very basic ingredients in here, and at the $18 price point, it's a little pricey for what you get, to be honest, but it should work. The other kind of primer that I didn't go into here is color correcting primers. Just a little rundown on those. It goes across the color wheel. So green would help with redness, purple with yellowing of the skin, pink would help with like a more radiant skin, and then peach would help with any dark circles or hyperpigmentation. So I'm not gonna go too deep into that because it seems like the community feels more strongly about the other primers that I talked about today. And a lot of times I feel like people aren't really using primers as much for color correcting the entire face, but more using color correctors that are more almost like concealer-like rather than a primer. If you do find that a color correcting primer works well for you, I would love to know about it down in the comments down below. Tell me what your favorite ones are. We just didn't focus on them today. And then finally, just in summary, here are some ingredients that you want to look for different things that you might want your primer to do. So for hydrating, you want water paired with a humectant. So you're looking for water paired with glycerin, hyaluronic acid, urea, things like that. For pore filling, you're looking for silicones, dimethicone, cyclopentasiloxane, anything with either cone, canol, or siloxane. Those are the ones that you're gonna be looking for pore filling. If you want something that's long lasting, you have the isododecane, keep an eye out for that, and then that pentasomething tetraisosterate, look out for that one as well. Also, silicones can also help with the longer lasting makeup bit. And for oil absorbing, you're looking for silica, you're looking for rice starch. We didn't have anything with cornstarch or nylon 12 in it, but those are other things you can look for. If you have oily eyelids, nylon 12 is in quite a few eyeshadow formulas. So keep an eye out for that also in eyeshadow formulas if you have particularly oily lids. I know ABH has nylon 12 in most of their eyeshadow formulas. That's just one that I think of off the top of my head. At this point, my friend, it is your turn in the collective brain of Makeup Awesomeness, where we help each other not to buy crappy primers. To buy things that are totally worth it. I would love to know your thoughts about the information that I gave you in this video. Do you find it to be accurate to the performance of these products that you have tried? I would love to know your thoughts. Are there any primers that I didn't mention that you feel like you wish that I had mentioned? And also, if you have never used a primer, or if you have used a primer and you feel like it didn't work for you, do you feel like this video helped you to understand why that primer may not have worked for you and what you're looking for in a primer? I'd be really curious to know if maybe that was the problem with it or not. Or do you still feel like you really don't need a primer, all you need is a moisturizer? I would love to know. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to hang out a little bit longer, YouTube should be recommending a video for you right down there to watch. But if it's your time to go, thank you so much for hanging out as long as you did. I really appreciate it. Mad love to you, and I will see you in a video very, very soon. Bye!